smell of napalm in the morning.
War. Good God, y'all.
Wow.
What is that good for?
What a capper.
Right? How y'all doing? And all right, I'm like, I need that clip. Everything else, Saving Private Ryan teaser trailer with shots cut into it. Perfect music. So yeah, demonetized immediately. Welcome to the Memorial Day / War Movie Collectors Club episode. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
We got mix. We got people we want to talk about, highlight their war movie cred, as it were. And, maybe a little bit of something else. Some recommendations for films for you folks, for each other, and a fun game that's gonna piss one specific person off, and I can't wait for that to happen. And it's one of us, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
So
It's a Bone Tomahawk game, right?
Bone Tomahawk, the board game. We're gonna play that live. It's a 3.5 hour role-playing game. Yeah, you guys doing good? You got your stuff.
Yeah,
You got you're all ready to go. All right, I'm just gonna pop into the comments because I will forget if I don't do it immediately. Before we get going here, thank you, Michael Hubbard. We will have an awesome show. Make sure you hit that like and then also the subscribe, not just to me, but everyone else here. If you already
I'm gonna
have
hit the like right now. See, easy.
Because we are all in the description. I'm obviously am because it's my channel, but the other three guys are in there as well with their link. Watch Red Dawn 1984 last night. I'm sorry. Go back a few episodes. You'll know why. Magic Hands. I do. Basis for Radio. Yeah, we should have that name. But that's a good one. I like that. Corey Zero, how's it going? Y'all. Gondo Juggalo, good evening to you as well, sir. Movie Hunter 2020. If the thing wants to click properly, there we go. Holland Oates is here. Hey
Holland. Somebody.
It's officially a live stream because Tony is also here. Good evening, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Hello, Emmett. How are you as well? Yeah. Tim's younger brother. Yeah, I know, right? We're like, who's this young man when he popped in here? He donated it, like I told him to, like I was saying before. So we're going to start off. This is a more or less the usual Collectors Club show, give or take a few little caveats. But, we're evolving. Season 2. # Season 2. So we're going to start out with the usual kind of thing, little intro chat about Memorial Day and what does it mean to you / us personally. Sound off in the comments as well, obviously. Give us your opinions on all these things we're talking about. I will start. I'm going to show some collectibles at the same time. We're not having an actual collectibles segment because we just kind of rolled it into this, if anyone has one. And the day, specifically to me, just makes me think of my grandfather, both grandfathers, but specifically my grandpa Don, who was my dad's stepfather. He fought on D-Day in World War II on Omaha Beach. He drove the boats to and from the shore in the Navy. And his older brother actually was killed in the Pearl Harbor attack. He was on the Arizona. So lots of family stuff there. He lied about his age to get into the Navy early because he was only 17. But I have with me his personal war belt buckles. He had a belt buckle collection, which I do too. Kind of forgot I had that until I thought of these. So I'm going to full screen myself because they're obviously small. But they're all on an old belt. Does that make sense? A World War II gold belt buckle. A United States Navy.
That's pretty cool.
Buckle.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of his old buckles that I wore for a long time. I never wore these just because, it doesn't make sense. World War II veteran buckle.
I like how you have all these on one belt.
Yeah, it just hangs in my closet. Another Navy veteran one. This one's pretty. And then an American veteran, and damn proud of it. Belt buckle as well. So these are his war-specific buckles he had in his collection that I don't wear because I shouldn't. Let's be honest. But I wore all of his other collectible belt buckles too, and I had a collection of my own. I should make a video about it someday. I never thought of that. But yeah, so that's what comes to my mind with Memorial Day is my grandfather's specifically. How about you, Huck?
Yeah, I mean, for me, obviously, it's a time to remember and be thankful for all the men and women that has sacrificed, themselves and fought for this country and given us all the spoils that we have. So I thank them for that. And it makes me think of this guy, the OG Huck. This is my collectible. Is my dad?
Nice.
Yeah, right here. And he was in the Air Force. If you'll even see here, if you can see, go full screen, you'll see the OG Huck right there. Look, he's got Huck on the wiped on the card on the card.
That's awesome.
And he started a radio, so they had this. He loved just anything interesting, and so there was a radio facility, and they sort of hijacked this thing. They weren't even supposed to be in there. And of course they, being techie guys that they are, they got it up and running and created like this, on air personality, which was kind of funny. Eventually they had to shut it down because it was overpowered. If they'd kept the signal low, they'd have gotten away with it, but they over signaled it. So, but yeah, so this is my dad, T.H. Huckabout. Everybody called him Huck. Boom, right there. So that's where I get it from, and so I'm sort of happy to continue on that nickname for just a great guy. And I will say, and he's passed on years ago. But the reason I have this particular book, because this was his, is I made this for him for like his 80th birthday. And I remember when he got this and he was looking through it, the best thing I've ever heard out of his mouth is he looks at this book and he goes, "This is the best gift I have ever gotten." And you could just see all the emotion just because it took a lot of time. Like I took a lot of time making this look perfect and have all the words. I would ask him for stories to put in here so I would remember the stories because I don't have that good of a brain. I feel like I'm forgetting everything. So I would put them in here for not only himself, but for myself. And so there you go. That's my collectible. Oh, and here's just a silly collectible, a Marvel Sergeant Rock glass.
That's awesome.
The only war glass I have is a Marvel hero. So
not even I have a war glass, so you got me beaten there.
That's it. I'll send it to you.
Oh, that's cool. What would you, Tim?
I have nothing to follow up with the show. Military runs in my family on for my grandparents, and both my parents also served in the military. My grandfather that was in the Navy built a lot of like model ships and stuff like that, of like naval ships, but I can't show those because they're literally like this freaking huge. They're like several feet long. So I got nothing to show, really.
Well, that's fine. It was an option. They threw it in there at the last minute, sort of. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, so I thought about my grandpa Bill that served in World War II as a cook in the Navy. Now, I'm not sure exactly what battles he was in. I think he was in the Pearl Harbor time, but not exactly sure. But he left these toy soldier collectibles, and these are like Civil War soldiers, so that's really cool.
You zoom in there.
Yeah, they're very little, so you get a whole bunch of them here. But I mean, he had a ton of them. He had like a little cannon one right here, and the wheels still work, so that's very cool. And I mean, oh my gosh, he just so many different little toy soldiers here. But yeah, he left all of these, and he was really big into collecting that. So he was a collector too. He would have been part of the collectors club, and like little train sets as well. He always used.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, he just had a great time with that. So. Yeah, that's who I thought of for Memorial Day, just remembering people that served in the military, what they've done for our country, and all of that. So, yep.
Splendid. See, that wasn't so painful. I X-nayed the entire like collectibles part of the show, and then I was like, wait, I actually have something that makes sense. So I was like, we should include it if it makes sense. So I'm glad most of us actually had something that made sense.
Yeah.
Pop back into the comments here just for a moment. Our number one fan popped in, and of course, awesome. Thank you, Tiana, as always. Middle of watching a movie.
There goes Mike.
Turn it off immediately and watch us instead. Unless you're watching a war movie, then it's okay. But thank you, Tiana, as always. Everyone making fun of Tim's awesome beard or lack thereof. Imagine getting whooped with that belt.
Oh my God.
Don't get me started, Tony. Don't get me started.
Buckle first.
Hey, Sarah, thanks for popping in.
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah. I didn't think that would come out of this, but all right. It means a lot to me. One grandpa was a Marine that was at Pearl Harbor. Nice. Iwo Jima and Guadalcanal. Sorry, I can't read. Another grandpa was the captain of B-24 bomber in Europe. And your son's serving. That's awesome. I didn't know that. Good on you, sir. Johnny popped in.
What's up,
Soon
Johnny?
to be in the Hall of Fame, if I'm not mistaken, Johnny.
Mhm.
So congratulations on that in a week or two when that goes down on my brother Bob's channel. Everyone's saying hi to Johnny and Dave here. And Corey, various hellos. Huck's comments. The prize. Oh, your gift. Yeah, that thing is great. You made that whole thing yourself. That's crazy. And how long ago did you make it for him?
I just knew well, he also gave me all of these old photos, his wedding photos and this and that, just all these things that, we sort of get, hopefully they get lost in time, right? They either get lost in time or you get lucky that they get passed to you. And look, I'm a techie guy, so I scanned every photo. I took out like this photo here was just cracked. It was all cracked and aged. So I photoshopped all the cracks out and made it look like Dad's never looked so good, y'all. And I did that kind of beauty pass to every photo that's in this book. So yeah, it took a long time, but I wanted it just had to be perfect, And also you had to not procrastinate. Like, oh damn, in his birthday, it's almost Christmas. It's December 23rd. So you can't drop the ball.
Right. Yeah. You got till maybe Christmas at most.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Birthday, make it up 2 days later.
Right. Get 2 days of buffer time. Faces of Radio. His uncle served in Vietnam and his own brother's birthday falls on the weekend, so he gets 3 days off. Hey, everybody wins, right?
Nice.
No complaints there. All right. That is cool. Hold on, I'm going to make a quick star on there before I forget. Womp. All right, on to the next thing. We're doing the Cinematic Attic, which is us recommending movies based on whatever theme to you folks. But today we're doing the Cinematic Barracks because war movies. Yay. Dean.
Cinematic Barracks.
Nice. Poorly photoshopped barracks with movie posters that aren't at the right scale or angle.
Anyway, let's show it again now that we know.
They're really fast with the exception of the wording.
They look more like banners.
Sure, why not?
They look more like banners hanging from the.
Yeah, I know. They're hanging this way from the ceiling.
Yeah.
The software I use is not that great, if you can't tell. But anyways, Huck, what do you got for us? We're doing we usually do a new and old movie. I already forgot. We're doing a movie based on true events and a war movie that is not. So it could be anything from Inglourious Bastards to Star Wars, as long as it's not either of those two things, because that's lazy. So Huck, what do you got?
All right. So, and first I want to thank you guys because I know you guys love war movies. I love your passion for war movies. It's definitely not like the genre I go to, but I will say, like, I've had nothing but great recommendations and some really amazing films. I even rewatched Zero Dark 30 like 2 days ago.
Oh, nice.
It's so good. So I'm gonna just start with like 1917. That's the film, World War I film, directed by Sam Mendes. Basically, I mean, you guys all know it. It's these two corporals, what is it? Get the names right. Lance Schofield and Blake and Schofield. There. So those are the two guys that they're on this mission to deliver. It's like a race against time, right? To deliver this message over enemy territory, and this message could potentially save like thousands of lives, right? And so, and one of the people is one of the two guys' brother, right? So that's the urgency. So the one guy's like, I got to deliver this to my brother, and of course the other guy he sort of nominates to go with him. They didn't know. They thought this was kind of the end of the war, but little did they know it was not going to be an easy thing that they were asked. That there was going to be some cakewalk that they were being asked to do. And if you've seen the film, it's basically it's all done as like one big take, one long continuous take. And as an editor, I sort of love to see where they hide edits, and I just can't really see them in this. The only obvious one is when he's knocked down and it cuts to black. I'm like, there's your one obvious edit, right? The others are beautifully woven into the fabric of the film. And I mean, it just got me. Like I'd never seen this film before, and it was just an absolute riveting film to watch. And there's this moment midway through and I won't spoil anything because I love this film, so I want anyone who hasn't seen this film to have the same thing. But there's this moment halfway through where they come across an abandoned farmhouse where they get to kind of take a breath for a second, you know, and then just all hell breaks loose during this break, and it's like, oh man. So not only is it tense, but there's this wave of emotion that you get from this particular moment, and then it continues to the end in a way you don't see coming. At least I didn't. And I was just, I don't know, man. I was just kind of blown away by it. Like, again, not being a huge war guy, I don't know, maybe it's like a low bar for some of you guys, but for me, it was a really epic watch. What'd you guys think before I move on to number 2?
I love it. Yeah, that was probably my favorite movie that year. It was 2019. I love one take movies are hard, and there's very few good ones, and that one is probably the best attempt at actually making it feel like it's actually one take, outside of the cut that you said where he gets knocked out and it's like the one easy cut in the whole movie. Mm-hmm. I even took advantage of it in the intro where I faded into another clip from another movie when they go into that bunker. That's one of the hidden cuts right there. But yeah, it's the all in real time, give or take him getting knocked out for an hour or whatever it is constantly tense, and it's Roger Deakins' cinematography is like among the best ever. Yeah. Like this movie specifically, not just his, which is, that's a given. So yeah, I love this movie. I need to rewatch it again. I've only watched it 2 or 3 times because it's not an easy movie to go back and watch a whole bunch like most war movies are.
Right.
But when I think of watching a war movie, this has become the one I kind of go to first that I haven't seen ad nauseum outside of like Saving Private Ryan, which I've seen 100 times because it's 20 years older. Yeah, I love that movie.
It's damn good. I don't really know what you guys kind of covered this stuff a lot. I like it. It's a really good World War I movie. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if it makes like a top 10 for me as overall war, but it is damn good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's solid for me. It wouldn't make my top 10 list though. After you get past the one take gimmick, it's not really rewatchable for me. So it's like, yeah, it's in the middle. Good one time watch. It looks and sounds good, but
the story is
it's so good.
Well, the score is amazing. Yeah.
And the making of stuff, if you haven't seen it, oh my God, just to see how Mendes put those scenes together, it just made me appreciate all the things after. And see, for me, Mike, even though, yes, the one take thing is a gimmick, same thing with Birdman and Gravity and anything like that. If you actually get past the gimmick, you're saying, once you get past it, you're kind of like lose interest. But for me, it's getting past the gimmick and not being distracted by the gimmick that makes me kind of want to revisit it. Because now that I've been amazed by it, now I can watch it and not be amazed by that. Yeah.
We made amazed by how well made it is outside of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like the invisible visual effects in that movie are outstanding too.
Oh yeah,
it made me very happy. It actually ended up winning at the Oscars for that because it's stuff you don't even think about.
Yeah,
pretty much the whole thing in the background is visual effects.
Right, well, and so now what we're doing here is we're sort of doing one that's sort of based on real stuff, and then a completely fictional thing, right? So I have chosen Starship Troopers.
Nice.
That's my fictional war movie. Directed by Paul Verhoeven, for those who don't know. And when this came out, it was not, so I'm going to go off my own take. So when I first saw it, I didn't get any of the propaganda, satire, all that stuff. It looked like a space movie with bugs that were killed, pretty people who couldn't act very well, and Michael Ironside. And bugs that shoot things out of their ass that destroy ships. I'm like, what's going on, right? But it's a big military propaganda film, that he cultivated and created as satire. And now that there was no internet back then either, so he couldn't get the word out. You just had to hope that people caught on to that.
Right.
And no one really did, And so, let's see, where's it? I have a quote here. So Michael Iron asked him, he said, why did you make this right-wing fascist movie? And then he says, well, if I tell the world that I'm making a right-wing fascist movie, no one's going to watch it. So I'm going to do this, perfect fascist world. Everyone's beautiful. Everything's shiny and everything, big guns, fancy ships, and a lot of people killing bugs. And then, fortunately, the message was not quite caught right away. But knowing this now, knowing what he was getting at, and watching it again from that perspective, it's kind of hilarious. I mean, everything has Nazi wrapped around it. The costume when Neil Patrick Harris walks out, literally full on Nazi outfit and stuff like that. It's just like, oh my God, why is that? Like when I first saw it, I'm like, that's an odd choice. And now it's a very hilarious choice.
Right.
So, it's definitely something once I've embraced what Verhoeven was going for and you see it again, it becomes a much more appreciated film. And I watched it again recently. It's kind of hilarious, you know. Denise Richards is the hottest pilot in the world who can't act, right?
Oh, yeah, she can't act at all. Most people in that movie can't act, like you said. But I think it's almost on purpose.
That's why you got to toss Ironside in there just to get a little credibility somewhere in that film.
Yeah. And he loses an arm, or he had lost an arm. I don't count in a movie with Michael Ironside if he doesn't lose an arm. Or
he loses an arm, right?
Yeah, as long as he loses an arm. Yeah, that movie. It's a secret comedy. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like once you get past the sci-fi cool factor, it's like, oh wait, this movie's hilarious. Just kind of like RoboCop. It's the same way. He always had.
It is. Yeah.
Rolled up in there. It just wasn't so. I don't know, military-esque. I guess it was more police force, corrupt, corporate people in that one.
Verhoeven always has a little underlying something in his films, you know, usually not a very surface kind of thing.
Yeah, it's great. I need to watch it again. I still haven't watched my 4K, but I've had it forever.
And that movie is so gory. So
so
right? You like that, right, Tim? Come on now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
It's like, yay, titties. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he gory.
Right? Yeah, some of that. Although, oddly, not Denise Richards.
Right. Everybody else, though. You seen that one, Mike?
Oh yeah, that movie's awesome. I did not get the messaging at all, though. I'm like, this is just a fun action movie. It's entertaining. I'd watch this 10 times before I watched 1917 again. So
well, good. I picked one of the two you would watch a lot.
But I didn't think it was a comedy. I was taking it seriously. I'm like, oh my gosh, imagine bug aliens invading. We got to be prepared for this.
Yeah.
No, it's hilarious. Now watch it as a comedy and you'll hate it, probably. That's usually how those things go.
And I thought the acting was good. I'm like, Neil Patrick Harris, he's phenomenal.
Oh, he's
probably the best part. Yeah.
I thought everybody was good.
I like Neil Patrick and everything. And Michael Ironside obviously is great. What's you, Tim? What are your picks?
All right. So for my true story movie, I am going with The Great Escape.
Nice.
It's a little on the long side, but it is so freaking good. This is actually relatively true to the story on what happened. These POW soldiers actually did escape using tunneling systems. It's actually relatively true. Just the movie takes a more comedic take for the most part. This is a damn good movie. It's hard to miss with Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen is great. But this whole entire cast is awesome. And we got John Hammond in here, Donald Pleasance, James Coburn, Charles Bronson. Like, it is just a stacked cast. Love that one. You guys see Great Escape?
Oh, yeah.
I saw it years ago. I need to watch it again. But yeah, I do remember liking it a lot, even as a kid on TV. I liked it a lot.
I saw it on TV originally. Yeah. Yeah. It was a long watch.
Especially 172 minutes. So it's just shy of that 3-hour mark. It's a long movie.
So it's like an 80-minute long movie on Pluto. More or less.
Yeah.
I need to get that. Yeah. Because that has a Kino 4K now, right?
Yeah. Kino 4K, which actually, I got both versions. You can't go wrong either way, honestly. But
I have the Kino one. Yeah.
Yeah. Great movie.
I'll grab that someday.
And then for the fiction movie, The War is not fiction, but I am going with Fury.
No, Fury's great.
Fury is it. I haven't seen it in a few years, but kind of when this came up, this is what I thought about, because besides World War II, the rest of it is pretty much fiction, but it's still kind of, he takes a blend. What is David Ayer, right? Is that who it? Yeah, David Ayer. He takes kind of a blend of different tank operator stories and just blends them together to make this movie, but super straightforward, where it's just a bunch of guys, tank operators that are on a pretty much a life or death mission. Their chances of survival are next to nothing. It's good. It's really good. Cast is great. Shia is in this when during his kind of low point. Shia is damn good in it. Brad
Yeah,
Pitt
yeah.
never misses. This movie is also very gory, and there's like a blown off face sitting on like the inside of the tank. This is a gory movie. Did you guys see this at all?
I haven't seen Fury.
I have
No.
not, but I want to now. David
yeah.
Ayer, the Suicide Squad guy.
Yeah.
I gotta see it now.
Imagine Suicide
It's
Squad,
not-
but like a
it's
good
not-
movie.
It's
Like
not
a comic book, yeah.
Oh
I
man,
haven't seen it
love
in theaters,
Suicide
but
Squad. I
it
love the
was good, yeah.
Beekeeper. I'm sold.
David Ayer,
It's
yeah.
good. I
It's-
mean, you like action though. This movie is basically mostly action.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's about as 50-50 war action movies as they come, I would say. But yeah, I saw it in theaters. I haven't seen it since. I own it, but I haven't rewatched it. My wife's like, we should watch Fury. And we never do. Because she liked it a lot too. But yeah, it's a solid movie, and all the co-stars are good. Isn't it John Bernthal's one of them too?
Yeah.
John
And,
Bernthal.
Shia's good, and Logan Lerman, right?
and Michael, Logan
Oh,
Lerman, Michael,
Logan Lerman, we were talking about him the other day. Logan Lerman from Fury.
Jason Isaacs.
Yeah, Jason is good. Yeah, it's a solid flick. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Cool. It's all tank battles, which is you don't see that often too, which is cool.
It's one of those things where, like, if you watch this, it can trick you. You could think it is true, and like I said, it's kind of just a mixture of people's stories in a blender. None of the people are real. The battle is not real, but it's convincing.
Great stuff like that happened.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's close. It's close.
Oh, no. It's not unrealistic. That's the best way to say it.
Cool. I need to see that. Sounds good.
Yeah, it's a solid movie. Yeah. How about you, Mike? What are yours?
Yeah, I wanted to go with some underrated choices here. Also, ones that focus more on the political side of war, because I'm sure everybody was going to pick war action movies. I'm like, we got to talk about the politics. What happens in the background? So the first one we'll go with Darkest Hour for our conventional war film. You got Gary Oldman giving his best performance as Winston Churchill, and he's like unrecognizable in this role. I think he won the Oscar for the performance, right? Oh, so good. It's breathtaking when he gives that speech at the end. We will never surrender. You're like, oh my gosh, woo, that's intense. So yeah, really good moments like that, but it's all dialogue and political talk, which I just find fascinating because once again, there's great action war movies, but if you can make a political talking movie pretty thrilling, I think it does a great job in that respect. And it does Dunkirk better than Dunkirk. So I'll give it that. How to say it?
It's impossible to go through a stream and not mention Dunkirk. I didn't bring up Dunkirk. Come on, man.
My bad. No, but it's
took care of
awesome.
it.
Like literally how he talks about it and shows the maps of it and it goes through the strategy. It's just fascinating in that way. And you learn about like how he become prime minister and how the king was kind of skeptical of him. And like a lot of people were very skeptical of Winston Churchill becoming prime minister, but then he wins everybody over at the end. So it kind of has that inspirational aspect towards the movie. And I'm like, oh, this is really cool. So yeah, I love that movie focused on Winston Churchill. You learn a lot about, the United Kingdom during the war and all that. So yeah, very underrated too. Not a lot of people talk about that one. That one never comes up in a top 10 war list or anything like that. So had to mention that one.
It's a solid one. Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. It's not for everybody though. Like I said, if you don't like political talking movies, it might put you to sleep. It put my wife to sleep. I took her to the theaters to see it. She slept through the whole thing. So it's not a very exciting one if you don't like the political stuff. All right, next one. I guess this is a lazy choice, as Derek said. We're going to go with Star Wars Episode 1, though, because I think Episode 1 is very underrated. I just saw the reissue of it in theaters, and I'm like, this movie is phenomenal. Oh my gosh, so many great things about Episode 1. But what I love about it is the politics side of it, where you see Senator, Palpatine rise to power through the Congress, become, what's it called? I don't know. One of the top people.
Supreme Chancellor.
Yeah, Supreme Chancellor. Yeah. Senator to Chancellor and all that. And he's like working in the shadows. And, who's Darth Sidious, but no one knows that at the time. So that's really cool. But then you have some awesome fun moments in there with Darth Maul, like the best Sith of all time. He just looks super cool. You got the Duel of the Fate song. You have that epic double lightsaber fight at the end, which is so awesome. You have the pod racing scenes. Like this movie has everything. I don't know why everybody doesn't seem to like Star Wars Episode 1. Yes, I get the Jar Jar Binks stuff is a little bit goofy, but that's for the kids, right? You gotta have something for the kids to make it a family movie. But other than that, I really like the movie. It's very fun. So gotta go Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. What do you guys think of that one? Do you guys hate that one?
It sucks.
Well,
Yeah.
I will say this. I think John Williams' Duel of the Fates is a
Oh, so good.
phenomenal
I love it.
piece of music that works really well in the film because it also highlights one of the greatest lightsaber fights in all the films. That is between Darth Maul.
Yeah.
It's really the end one. Like when they're both fighting him, that's cool. But it's really when Obi-Wan when he loses his mind and he goes after Maul, that is probably the best 5 minutes of the whole film, personally. It's that good. But yeah, other than that,
I always liked the prequels. Like, I wasn't even a Star Wars fan when I saw that in theaters the first time back when it came out. And I was like, yeah, that was cool. I like Jar Jar because I was a stupid kid at the time, like you were saying. I still enjoy it, ironically, now. But outside of the really bad dialogue and the questionable acting, which I think is a George Lucas problem, I've always liked episode 1 and 2 and 3. So the stories are great. It's just, the whole filmmaking side of it that he's never been that great at is subpar, I would say.
Something that always bugged me, and it feels like it's worse in episode 1 and 2, but besides the dialogue what the context of what they're saying, I swear to God, the movie feels like sometimes like you're watching on like 2x speed, where they say everything and there's a instant response. It's like the actors are just reading this stuff like the moment the last person finished, where there's no, like, a person wouldn't even think of their thought, and it's just like they're going back and forth. It's like, dude, this feels like I'm watching on like 2x. Like there's no flow to the dialogue whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like it's so fucking bad. I seriously, I know it's been getting a lot of love with the anniversary screening. Couldn't fucking care less. Don't own the movie. Don't give a shit to watch the movie again. I saw it in theaters. I'm done. Wash my hands.
Yeah, I've seen it a bunch of times in theaters. I went to the other re-release. What was it? I don't know, maybe 5 or something
one,
years ago. The 3D one. Yeah, I saw the 3D one. I'm like, that was cool. And,
I used to think of myself as a Star Wars fan, and now I've gotten to the point where no, I'm just probably a casual. Because if I actually put down all of the movies, I probably like less than I dislike at this point. So I'm just a casual Star Wars fan. So what does it matter?
Yeah, I'm just slightly nostalgic for like episodes more 2 and 3 than 1 because I worked at the movie theater when they came out, and I was like, episode 2 around that time is when I actually started to like the old Star Wars movies, which are obviously better. And even those have not that great of dialogue and questionable acting, but they're so much better in every other aspect that you can forgive it.
I'm all over the map with the Star Wars movies. Like, I like some of the prequels a lot. I like some of the original a lot. I like some of the side movies a lot, like Rogue One. So I don't know, I'm all over the place with them. So
yeah, we'll just have a Star Wars specific episode, and then people will watch it.
I'm good.
I think that's just what's happened to the franchise in general, because there's so much television content as well. It gets a lot of it's just so mediocre. It's this franchise that has a lot of mediocrity for me. Like Book of Boba Fett. Oh God, whatever.
That was pretty bad. I love Boba Fett. That's my favorite character. But the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian are very good. So
first 2 seasons, not the third.
There was a third one. Yeah, I lost interest in Boba Fett until like the last 2 episodes, and it became Mandalorian season 2.5, and I was like, oh, it's slightly less boring now. And then I haven't watched anything else they've done because quality over quantity, vice versa. Same goes for the Marvel shit now, which pisses me off more, being an actual Marvel fan since I was 4. Anywho,
all right, how about
back to war movies that aren't Star Wars related. So this is why we can't talk about Star Wars. My true story, which feels like when you're watching these 2 movies, this movie feels more fake than the fake one, which is odd. But I'm going with the pretty damn good action war movie. I like it. I saw it in theaters. Enemy at the Gates. Anyone remember that one from 2001? It was like the kind of coming off the high of Saving Private Ryan, still war movie time. It's about a crack shot sniper played by Jude Law, and Joseph Fiennes is his buddy in there. I like the Inglourious Bastards ripoff artwork of this Blu-ray, by the way. It came out the same year as that movie. So they didn't hide that one very well. He's basically on a mission to assassinate a famous Russian sniper, and that's pretty much the whole movie. He has like a little crew with him, and they're just going through trying to find this other sniper, and it's like a mano-a-mano sniper fight towards the end. It's very cool if you like sniper things. That's the gist of the movie. You got Ron Perlman in there. He's part of his group. Ed Harris is the villain sniper, which is cool. Bob Hoskins is in it, and okay, I think who he plays. He plays Stalin, I think. He plays the Russian leader at the time. I want to say it's Stalin because it's World War II. But yeah, it's a very interesting cast. Rachel Weisz is in it as well. Post Mummy Return, Rachel Weisz, or actually, I was right in between the two, I think. But yeah, it's a very entertaining action war movie that just kind of got forgotten about because like it was good enough that people liked it when it came out. It came out way too early in the year for anyone to remember it, so it didn't get like any awards buzz or anything. But it's just a little too on paint by numbers war movie at the time, so it never really went anywhere. But I've always liked it. So that's what I threw on that one. Have you guys seen Enemy at the Gates?
I don't remember. I feel like yes, but I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Right, it's one of that's why I talked about it. It's one of those movies.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it either, Mike?
Yeah.
Nice. This was going to be the other one I recommended you if it wasn't Rescue Dawn. So
yeah, I feel like I've seen it, but like Tim, I don't remember. So the answer would be no.
Yeah, you probably can't remember. Right. Enemy at the Gates watch party coming up next. Let me know in the comments if you've seen Enemy at the Gates because I think it's pretty solid. It's not perfect, but it's a solid, entertaining war movie. This one, on the other hand, well, I like it. It's entertaining, I should say. On the other hand, this feels more realistic than Enemy at the Gates, like I was saying. And this is a World War I movie, but the war is sort of in the background. It's not really the forefront. It's Atonement.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the Best Picture nominee from '07, the best year in Oscar history. This movie won Best Score, and that's it. But the score is amazing because it's used with a typewriter, and it's brilliant when you watch the movie. But you got very young Saoirse Ronan in it, who plays a huge B word and basically ruins the lives of Keira Knightley and James McAvoy's characters. He gets sent off to war, relationship stuff. I don't want to ruin anything too much when they come back, but the movie's about atonement, hence the title. Basically, Saoirse Ronan's character has to deal with this horrible thing she did as a kid all the way through the rest of her life, and it shows her as an old woman basically acknowledging that she destroyed these people's lives more or less on purpose, and the war is sort of just like a background thing. So I think it's a really good, not so warish war movie that is not based on a true story. Have you guys seen Atonement?
Yeah, that is a good one.
Nope, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's a good one. Yeah, it's like it's not war enough where you won't like it, Huck. It's just a good old fashioned drama with some good actors. Mike, I don't know. You might not like it.
He likes romance though, so any
it's in that gray area. It's romantic enough where you might like it, but it's boring enough where you might not. So, but there's a cool war scene in it in the middle, so it might perk you back up. Doctor Strange is in it, if that helps. I think that's the first thing I ever saw him in.
Cumberbatch, right?
Yeah. He plays a creep in it who tries like hitting on like 12-year-olds. It's weird.
John
But anyway, it's family fun, 2.5. But yeah, it's a good movie.
A hoot and a half.
The score is brilliant. It is like the best. It is the best score of that year that it came out, and that's a tall order with other things that came out that year. So yeah, that's what I've got. I'm glad not many people have seen those two. That's kind of the point of these.
I know you have the best ones because nobody.
I guessed right. Yay!
Yeah,
those are literally the first two things I thought of.
Little did you know.
Right. Scrolling past all my stars and such. All right. Hacksaw Ridge is pretty damn good.
That's a good movie, man. I like that.
Oh, not true. Mike's favorite, Independence Day.
Yeah.
The best fictional horror movie I've ever seen. Great Escape. It is great. I really need to watch it again. It's been probably 30 years since I've seen that movie. I know you're like, you're not 30 years old. I'm like, oh, I am. Best job I ever had. Me at the movie theater? Yeah, Fury's great. He agrees. We're correct. Protect the Hive.
That's
hey, Double Feature Podcast is in there. How's it going? Thanks for popping in.
Protect the Hive. Such a good movie.
I'm just trying to find anyone new. Amen, Johnny. Reading as I go. Huckleberry Huckster. Oh, I like that comment. I'm going to show that.
I get that a lot.
Really? You my Huckleberry?
Mm-hmm.
Rescue Dawn is really good. Yes, we talked about that on the last show. Rescue Dawn is fantastic. You didn't see that one, right, Huck?
Rescue Dawn? No, that's one I hadn't seen.
Yeah, you should watch that one. That's
sounded super good, though.
Jeff thinks you should watch Atonement. I think you should watch Atonement.
I have such a stacked bunch of movies to watch.
Holland was going to watch both of those. He takes my recommendations. He knows Atonement is great. He knows Things is great. He knows
Wait. Sorry, what?
the Iron Man is great. All the greats. All the great things.
Things is great.
Corey says Glory is phenomenal. Glory is
yeah.
good. I haven't seen that in a long time, but that's a solid movie. Nice. Glory is fantastic. Top 5 war movie. Yeah. I won't go that far, but I honestly haven't seen it since high school.
Yeah.
I can tell you. All right. That was good. Those were some good picks. Except for episode 1, which Tim hates, and I'm offended by that.
Fuck that movie.
That's right.
All right. Next, we're doing our typical Hollywood spotlight, but except for this time, I didn't think of a clever name for this one. I just couldn't think of anything that rhymed or had anything to do with spotlights. We're doing people, actors and actresses, or filmmakers behind war pictures. Pictures are movies and television shows. But I thought it was cool that all 4 of us picked more or less not an actor. Usually at least 2 of us would go with an actor and like 1 or 2 people would pick a filmmaker. All 4 of us, whether intentional or not, picked filmmakers, which I think is cool. So we're going to start with Hux.
Yeah.
Hence the order of the screen. And that is Catherine Bigelow.
There she is.
Pointing at herself like all good directors do.
Say, check out that girl.
Right.
Yeah, Catherine Bigelow. So here's the thing. So as I was stewing over, this topic that you have, it's like, okay, spotlight for war, because I don't relate anything specific other than like nothing springs to mind like that I instantly go, oh, that person. But recently, having seen Zero Dark 30 before, and then having been recommended The Hurt Locker, I mean, Catherine Bigelow just has it dialed in. I mean, she really has character and pace and tone down like to perfection. And to give you a little bit on Catherine Bigelow, she was a painter, a very, talented painter. And she has won 87 awards and 66 other nominations so far, including 2 Oscars for Best Director and Picture for The Hurt Locker and 1 Saturn Award for Strange Days, if you guys have seen Strange Days. But The Hurt Locker, is one of the Collectors Club recommendations about a bomb squad. Jeremy Renner's the person who comes in to take over because someone else who used to be the bomb squad person did not do so well on his previous time. And also has Anthony Mackie in the film as his sort of leader, and it's really tense. Like I just love the way that she crafted these characters, the personalities and the interactions. It just had me sort of engaged during this whole time, which is funny because when I feel like when I first watched this movie, I was like, ugh, snore, turned it off. I don't know what was my problem or what. I feel like maybe I didn't come in at the beginning or something. I don't know. I don't know, because this film was great. It was hands down fantastic. And so that's the second one I saw of her, because the next one that I'm talking about is Zero Dark 30. That's the decade long hunt for the Al-Qaeda terrorist Osama bin Laden, and the team that, the SEAL team, the Navy SEAL team 6 that went in and did the job. And I recently rewatched that, and it's got our boy Star-Lord in there. Chris Pratt is in the film, who takes the shot actually. But just, I mean, and that's another big cast, and there's different facets going on. And there's always like, and you got to be cautious. Like this one friend of Jessica Chastain allows a car into the camp, and of course they're got bombs on them, and they take all these people out, and it's like, they want to be trusting. They want to be so trusting, but you can never be trusting. This whole, everything about war, is not pretty, and it's not, you can't take anything for granted. So these 2 films really spoke to me as a filmmaker who really knows her stuff with that type of film. And, in her filmmaking, also other great films, Blue Steel, which you got Point Break, Keanu Reeves, Patrick Swayze, of course, Strange Days, like I mentioned, and Near Dark, great vampire movie. So
Yeah.
she's sort of like really kind of giving us all kinds of genre pictures. I'd love to see the next thing that she's making. But yeah, I just think Catherine Bigelow, and look, she's one of our greatest female directors. She's, I believe, right, the first one to win an Academy Award, and well deserved. So I mean, if she's set the bar for all female directors, let's go. So Catherine Bigelow, y'all.
Nice. Have you seen Detroit? I think that's a movie she did after Zero Dark 30.
No, good.
I think it's not a war movie, but it's no one
Right.
ever talked about it. But I thought it was really good and extremely tense when I saw it in theaters. But yeah, so give that a watch if you like intense, dramatic, also kind of sad movies based on true story. Also,
Was that John Boyega?
yeah, I think John Boyega and Will Poulter are in it.
Yeah.
It's a solid movie though. Good old race relation movie that doesn't turn out well in the end. Put it that way.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Anthony Mackie is in that too.
Yep,
John
yeah,
Boyega,
he's in it
Anthony
too, right.
Mackie.
That's
So
a
she
solid
likes
Yeah, I
him.
remember the
Cool.
trailer. I never got around to seeing it.
Yeah, it was better than I expected it to be. Yeah, because I was like, oh, she does. Her last two things were successful. I should give this a try. And I'm like, oh, that was actually pretty good. And no one's mentioned it since. So nice. Yeah, her luck is great. It's so good. All right, Timothy. He's got. I mean, people have heard of this guy, so I'll give him a.
Slightly.
Who's
So
he
not to get on my high horse or anything like that, but my pick of Steven Spielberg. I don't think there is any other filmmaker that has touched the war genre to the extent of Steven Spielberg. Between being a producer and a director, the guy he's shifted the genre in so many ways. Of course, Saving Private Ryan is thought of by many people as like the pinnacle. I think Band of Brothers is legitimately the greatest piece of war filmmaking ever. 10 episode HBO show that is literally 10 perfect episodes. It makes a great 10-hour movie if you want. It is literally perfection. I have zero complaints on it. I love that show. The Pacific is not as good, but it's pretty good. And then of course we dive into Schindler's List. I mean, an all-time great. Empire of the Sun, Flags of Our Fathers as producer, Letters from Iwo Jima, War Horse, not the greatest, but it's decent. It's decent.
I like War Horse. That's not bad.
1941.
1941. Great.
1941. Yeah.
Bridge of Spies. Even when we dive into like Cold War stuff, Bridge of Spies, he's touched multiple different wars and between producing and directing, and I don't think anyone else has done quite what he has for the war genre. It's crazy. Like if someone listed off all of the best war stuff, his shit is like a lot of it's at the top.
Yeah, yeah. And Lincoln. That's another.
And
good one.
Lincoln is
Right?
good.
People don't see it because it's Lincoln, but like that's definitely a war movie.
Yeah.
Think about it. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why I figured you'd go with either him or Tom Hanks because they're basically crossover in half of those things. And I know you wanted to talk about Band of Brothers at any point in time you can.
Band of Brothers is so good.
Yeah.
I obviously, whenever you see, real characters portrayed in something and they're kind of from around your area, it kind of piques your interest even that little bit more. So I remember like the first time I saw it, like most of those guys in that company are from the Pennsylvania, New York area. And like Winters is from Hershey area. Like I've been to Hershey many times. Like he's buried out there. I'm like, that's cool. All these super heroic guys in this amazing show. And they're all kind of like one of the guys is actually Scranton. Like that's here. It's pretty cool to see them represented in such an amazing show. Like,
I want to see that again. I found that literally $10 for the whole show at Best Buy.
Yeah, worth
I gotta
every
get that.
penny of that.
Yeah,
like if I was picking a 4K wish list of any, like that's towards the top of my like overall 4K wish list. I just every episode they'll focus on like different characters each episode, and some of them like. There's this one character, he's towards like episode 7 or 8, but Blythe, something like that doesn't get a whole lot of coverage beforehand, but his episode is so freaking good, and what happens to him is so tragic. God, I love that show. Like, it's perfection.
Thanks. Now I want to watch it again. And it's got every actor ever in it, too, which helps.
I wish I liked Pacific a lot, but do you guys all see Pacific as well, or?
I did, yeah.
I think I saw the first couple episodes, but I didn't see the whole thing.
So with Band of Brothers, you get a full episode before they even get into the war itself, and then they're starting to paratroop in with the second episode towards the end. Like, you're getting a lot of time to like get to learn their characters and things like that. Pacific just throws you in, and I was kind of having a hard time like getting attached to some of the stories and these characters, because it's like, here's this guy dead, here's this guy dead, and I'm like, I got to grow to love these characters in Band of Brothers, and they're just like offing them in Pacific so quick that I didn't get like the attachment the same.
Yeah, I remember not being as into it as Band of Brothers. Yeah, it definitely sucks your interest in more. I think part of it's me being more interested in that side of the war because of things I mentioned earlier with my grandfather and such.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely develop the characters a lot better in that one than I remember. I remember like one actor in all of the Pacific. I don't remember. I could name like 30 people who were in Band of Brothers.
The lead kid from Pacific is what's his name that plays Tim in Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
He's not even the one I was talking about. Some guy who's in Iron Man 3. I can't think of the actor's name. But the new one that came out though too, the Air Force one, I haven't had a chance to watch. It's on Apple, I think, right?
Yeah, it's Apple.
I'll have to watch that at some point when I decide to pay for Apple. But yeah, Steven Spielberg's amazing. But who's better than Steven Spielberg, Michael?
This was a tough one for me to think of, though. Actually, I'm like, who can I pick for war? And I'm like, oh, Clint Eastwood. He's done a lot. He's done pretty much every genre out there. So let's go with some Clint Eastwood. I mean, he's still working in Hollywood to this day. I mean, he's super old, but he's still going. It's amazing. Right? Isn't he close to 80 now? He's like
93.
He's like Shatner.
Oh my gosh, 90 something years fly by, I tell you. Well, anyway, he's done a lot of different genres. He's done Western stuff. He's done action, but he's done war. So for war movies, Flags of Our Fathers and Letters to Iwo Jima. Now, I haven't seen Flags of Our Fathers, but I heard great things about it. But I was watching Letters to Iwo Jima right before this stream. I haven't finished it. I'm like halfway through, but it's very good. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is intense. I really like showing the other side in the war, showing the Japanese and their emotions and characters and all that. It's like cool to get a different perspective on the war. So yeah, I'm liking it so far. I'm going to finish it after the stream. And then Heartbreak Ridge, he acted in. We watched that for the Collectors Club recommendations. And I'm like, oh, this is a more, lighthearted war film. It's kind of fun with the music in there. There's some romance. I'm like, okay, I like this. Also, what else has he done? Oh, yes. Okay, here we go. That's why I bring Blu-rays. American Sniper. So I also think he's really good at focusing on real life heroes and then making a whole movie around them. And American Sniper is fantastic. Bradley Cooper in this one, just complete transformation for his role in here. But I really like this one. It's super intense. It's kind of like the Hurt Locker, where it's like focusing on that one main character and you're following his, military life. And you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And so many people relied on him as a sniper in the war. And he gained like a lot of fame through all that. So that was really cool to learn about that. Also, another good one where he focused on real life heroes. We had 1517 to Paris, which, people that were in the military stopping an attack on a train going to Paris. Once again, just focusing on real life heroes. Oh, and what's cool about this movie is the actors for the heroes are actually the heroes. They're the same people. So he didn't go get different actors to play these guys. He got who can do the heroes better than the heroes themselves. And they actually do pretty good in the movie. It made it more realistic, it felt. But that was awesome. What else has he done? Oh, war. I'm trying to think. You guys throw some stuff out there. He has a giant film.
Well, yeah, that classic Heartbreak Ridge everyone loved.
I love Heartbreak Ridge.
Did he direct that one too, though? I can't remember. He did, right? One? He directed Heartbreak Ridge too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Directed, acted in it. Yeah. And I know him from his more modern stuff that isn't war related, like Gran Torino, The Mule, Cry Macho. But yeah, I mean, he just does so many genres. And then you go back to his Western days with the good, the bad, and the ugly. so many great movies from his filmography. So yeah, had to shout out Clint Eastwood.
Nice, yeah. The Flags of Our Fathers Letters to Iwo Jima thing was interesting because they came out the same year.
Yep,
and they're like companion
2006.
pieces to the same thing. And literally every single person agrees that Letters to Iwo Jima is the better movie. I don't think I've seen anyone.
Oh, that is the better one then. So I chose the right one. Okay.
Yeah, the second one, but it doesn't really matter. Flags of Our Fathers was pretty good, but Letters to Iwo Jima was hands down better.
But it threw me off though, because it was a foreign language film, and I'm like, I guess I should have known that. But I started playing it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna be all in Japanese. Okay, I gotta pay attention now.
Oh crap!
I'm like, where's the dub option?
Yeah, where's that
You
English?
gotta hear that Ken Watanabe native accent. Come on. Yeah, that's a solid movie though. I need to watch that one again too. But the funny thing is, my Clint Eastwood box that I have, it has 20 movies in it. It has Letters to Iwo Jima, but it doesn't have Flags of Our Fathers for some reason.
Really?
And I was like, cool. I really want just that one.
Super odd.
Yeah, whatever. And it's not like they're not both Warner Brothers or whatever. Stupid. It's like those WB box sets. Apparently, WB doesn't do box sets. That makes sense. They just like separate franchises into multiple box sets for no reason.
Yeah.
Stupid Warner Brothers. All right. I went with someone that no one really knows his name. Like, he's not one of those guys where it's like, oh, famous person. But when I thought of this and I wanted to make it specifically war people, two people popped in my head. The first one, I shouldn't say the first one. He was the first one that I'm picking. But the other one was Arlie Ermy, because everyone knows him from Full Metal Jacket. He was a real drill sergeant. That's how he became famous. And after Full Metal Jacket, who he just got the part out of like happenstance. Like, I don't think he was going to play the drill sergeant. He was there to kind of show what it's like, and they just went like, wait, you're way better. Let's just have you play the drill sergeant.
Yeah. He's so good in that.
And then he just became like a legit actor and was in like 100 movies after that. This other guy's similar but different, and that is Dale Dye. I'll leave that up for a minute just so everyone can look. There's him with Tom Hanks on Saving Private Ryan. I thought it was odd that he's actually in the Steven Spielberg picture in the center there as well. But that was a funny coincidence. But let me bring up my little fact sheet here before I forget what I'm talking about. If it looks like I'm reading off of a page, it's because I am, everybody. He's an American. Actually, I skipped a line. Dale Adam Dye Jr., born on October 8th, 1944, is an American actor who is also a technical advisor on films and a decorated Marine veteran of Vietnam. He served from 1964 to 1984, and he wanted to make Hollywood's depictions of war more realistic once he got out of the military. And he tried to pitch this idea to lots and lots of directors, and none of them wanted in on it until Oliver Stone with Platoon in 1986. So he had all the actors from Platoon go through a 30-day mock boot camp thing. So you got Charlie Sheen and Willem Dafoe and all those guys going through a month-long boot camp. And he also wrote the novelization, which is just a weird random thing. So that's where he got his start in the movies, was with Platoon, and he's also in the film. And his major acting roles, not major roles, but movies that are major he was in, are Platoon in 86, Always in 1989, Born on the 4th of July, Casualties of War, JFK, Under Siege, Natural Born Killers, Outbreak, Sergeant Bilko, I thought that was funny, Mission Impossible, the original one, Starship Troopers, he's in Starship Troopers,
Nice.
Saving Private Ryan, and he's in 7 episodes of Band of Brothers, so there's that coming back. And yeah, he's been on the technical advisor since Platoon all the way through that new Masters of the Air show we were talking about. That's on Apple TV Plus. He's in 86 movies as an actor, and he is a technical advisor on 54 movies, including the animated masterpiece Sergeant Stubby, an American Hero from 2018. I had to end on that because it's ridiculous. But yeah, Dale Dye is awesome. He, like, watch any modern war movie, you'll probably pop up halfway through it because he's always in there, especially if it's an Oliver Stone one. And I just thought that was cool because I remember him being in Saving Private Ryan and Platoon, and apparently Sergeant Bilko. So it's one of those weird actors who's not really an actor, but he's been in 86 movies. So I think he's an actor, and I wanted to spotlight that. And also just like what he started doing with the technical advising of all these movies. There's way more movies than I imagined that he's part of. It's crazy. So you should check out his IMDb. It's ridiculous. I just thought he was a cool person to talk about. So that's why I brought him up.
That is cool.
Yeah. Any of you know him by name?
I'm like, I feel bad for not knowing him. You're like, he's an 80s.
He's in all this crap.
I'm like, who? Who is
Like,
this?
I couldn't even pick 4 different pictures and have him not be in 2 of them. That's how many war movies he's in.
Yeah, that's impressive when they bring somebody in as an advisor and then they're just so good. They're like, suit up, you're going in.
Yeah, you're going to
And
replace
then-
our actors because they are not as good as you at your job. Yeah, I looked up his like Wikipedia and it shows all his war medals. It's absurd, but I didn't include all that for obvious reasons. All right, I'm
Yeah,
back
it's a
in my
good pick.
comments. Love that film. One of my favorites from Dead. Oh yeah, we're talking about Glory here in the comments still. Everyone's hooting and hollering for Glory. Catherine Bigelow, one of their favorite directors. Yeah, she's awesome. She's in A League of Their Own. Or of her own. I can talk. Near Dark is awesome. I used to have that Blu-ray too, and it's impossible to find, and I'm an idiot, and I sold it a million years ago before it was worth anything.
Terrible
Stupid.
cover on that too.
I know they
It
try to make
looked
it
like
look
a Twilight. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looked like a Twilight cover. I'm like, bring me the
Yeah.
one with Bill Paxton where the light's coming out of his face. I mean,
Yeah.
that sets the tone.
It's so due for like a random 4K from some random boutique label. It's just asking for it.
Yeah.
Band of Brothers and Pacific. Yeah, I need to rewatch Pacific, but I've only seen Pacific once, and I've seen Band of Brothers at least twice, and I still want to watch Band of Brothers again first because it's so damn good.
Yeah.
Troma's War is a classic. Thank you for mentioning it because I didn't. Troma's War is a fun time, actually, if you haven't seen that. If you don't want to watch a real war movie. Yep, Letter from Ujima. Thank you, me. We were talking about that. It's a great movie.
Is that from Troma?
Yeah, it's a Troma movie. It's Troma's
Yeah.
War. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it for the first time. I think I watched it on Joe Bob's Drive-In, and I'm like, oh, this movie's terrible. I love it. What, Tony? You haven't seen those? Oh Lord.
If he was bringing up that Letters from Iwo Jima, that was directed by Clint, because at this time Spielberg's producer. That's why I mentioned.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
you said-
Yeah, they're both like had their hands in there. So I was like,
Yep.
Spielberg is the perfect person because half of them made the same movie.
Yep.
It's kind of nice to think that Clint and Spielberg collabed. I mean, that's
Yeah.
you don't
It
hear
is-
collabs like that very often.
Gotta love Spielberg. Like, it's a war movie, I'll pay for it. And Clint Eastwood's like, okay, I'm 93 years old. He didn't die in World War II. It was actually, well, that's interesting.
I didn't know that.
They fictionalized it. They made it fancy for the pictures, is what you're saying? Apparently that was in there twice. All right. Collector Movie Man. Hey, thanks for popping in here, sir.
What's up, yo?
Unforgiven on 4K. Yeah, Unforgiven is lovely. That's a lovely Western if you don't like Westerns even. Collector Movie Man. $1 Million Baby, Gran Torino, Dirty Harry. Oh, yeah. Those were
Oh,
all
look.
guys.
Kitten Paws is
I
here.
love Gran Torino. That's such a weird movie, but I really like it. And nobody else does. Oh, there's the White Hawk.
Hey,
Nice that you're doing this topic, right? Yeah, that was my idea. I had no idea what I was going to do until I was like, wait, they'll be about Memorial Day. That's perfect. Everyone likes war movies except Huck. So let's do that.
well, I just said they're not my go-to. I've liked lots of them that I've watched, which is pretty
Yeah,
great.
we've been good. We've given you all stuff you actually really liked.
Well, it's easy. I don't watch too many.
Yeah, he's all right. Next, our little segment we have is called Dream War Film or TV show. That took like 5 seconds after I clicked it to show up. All right. Look at that font. Anyways, yeah, Huck, what do you have in your head? Doesn't have to be super specific or crazy. Because I'll be honest, I didn't think of anything too specific. Because I've seen a lot of war movies, and I'm like, eh. So what do
Now,
you
Doug
got?
and I were talking before this particular segment doesn't really do anything for me because for me, when it comes to war, there isn't anything I would love to see brought forth. Like I don't care to see any kind of war brought. If you make it and it's great, I'll probably end up seeing it. But all I can think of is more like, well, instead of just doing a war, how about we do a film about the family back home, like what's going on with the family, the wife, the kids, and what they have to go through while they're at war, sort of a flip coin. Now, because I don't watch a lot of these things, maybe that already exists. That's probably tons of movies that do that, but having no real dial in what war I wanted to see, that would be something interesting from another perspective, another point of view. That would be interesting to see. Whichever war it is, I don't think it matters. It's like, but what is going on? What are they going through? What is the tension? What is the drama there? That's all I got.
That's a brilliant idea, though. I really like that because you never see that perspective, or at least only little parts of it, little clips, but you have a whole movie focused on that. And then that will show the impact of the war with the people at home. That's a great idea.
Like he literally leaves for the war and it stays at the house until he either returns or does not return. Someone either knocks on the door and you go with them to bad news or happy news. So yeah.
Because that shows war is tough on everybody, not just the soldiers, but people at home too, the families, all of that. Yep.
Yeah. I can't think of like a specific movie that like is all of that, but there's a couple of good ones like Deer Hunter. I love because it shows that, but it also shows the war at the same time because it just breaks it up into 3 acts before, during, and after, which I love. And the shortest part of the movie is the actual war. It's how it changes people. That's the big part of that movie. And that's why I like it so much. And then, have you seen The Messenger, Huck?
Who's in
Woody
that?
Harrelson and Ben Foster?
No. Sounded familiar.
You probably like that because that's kind of what that is. It made me mad when it came out because I had that idea for a movie like 5 years before it existed. And I was like, damn it. They took my idea and never wrote down. But it's about their ex-military people who have to deliver the letters to the houses of the people who've been killed. So that's like that, but not exactly. So that'd be a good one to watch if you're into that stuff. How about you, Timothy?
All right. So a huge chunk of United States war movies, for the most part, they're why we're awesome, why we kick ass, and don't really dive into where we might have made mistakes. And there's very little that actually talk about the fact that we imprisoned, in internment camps, 120,000+ Japanese Americans during World War II. That gets so overshadowed. There was some of them were accidentally shot and killed in the camps. It wasn't a huge thing, but they were also not looked after very well. That people died because of medical reasons. They weren't treated well. And they were in there for some of them up to over 4 years, including George Takei and Pat Morita were both in them as children. There's very little that actually talks about that. And I don't feel like a big Hollywood picture would come from that because that paints the United States as like, hey, we fucked up. When generally it's rah, we're amazing. But we make mistakes too. And that was definitely a mistake. That was basically all just off paranoia that these truthful citizens were actually against us. It's really fucked up. It's a really fucked up thing that happened. So I think that would be a really impactful picture if they made it, but it would probably not happen.
That didn't pop in my head at all. That'd be amazing. Yeah. And it happens during essentially the Holocaust, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's over. It started in 42 and ended in 46. Yeah.
So it's just like, you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, maybe not quite as horribly, but it's getting there. So yeah, that's amazing that they were doing essentially the same thing at the same time. But they're the good guys, for doing it.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that would be good. Have George Takei in it.
Yeah.
Who was the other person you said was in there as a kid? Okay.
Pat Morita?
Yeah.
Yeah, Takei's story is incredible. I've heard his book.
I've seen him write about it a lot. Yeah, it's interesting.
They didn't even teach that very much when I was in school. I don't even know if they do it all now. I
remember hearing it in school. Like it wasn't a lot focused on, but I think there was like maybe one worksheet on it.
They like to mention it.
Much.
Yeah.
One worksheet. Yeah, they there's so much that we kind of just try to block out where we screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that stuff gets lost to history. If we keep ignoring, you end up repeating the same thing in the future.
You can't learn from it if you don't keep it.
You don't see that a lot in the history books. Like anytime where America lost something, like they definitely do not highlight that in history books at all.
Yeah, it gets whitewashed or whatever term you want to use. America washed. But yeah, that's good.
All right, so I'm excited for this one. I've been planning. Okay, so this is going to be a Civil War movie because we don't have a lot of Civil War movies out there. We have Glory, but not too many other ones. So this is going to be a Civil War epic. This is going to be like The Godfather Part 2 for Civil War movies because we're going to have the classic Civil War, but also a modern Civil War. So your classic Civil War, you got to have directed by Mel Gibson, He's a great director with movies like Hacksaw Ridge and whatnot. So he's going to direct the classic part. The modern part, you're going to have directed by Michael Bay, who else better to do a Hollywood directed epic action war movie? Because we got to have explosions and we got to have some really cool stuff in there, very stylized, right? With everything going on with these Civil War movies. So yes, throw in Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds in there. They can be opposite sides. I think that would be, they're great actors. Hugh Jackman can do anything. So we gotta be able to sell tickets to this movie. I'm thinking business wise. How do we sell tickets? Get some big stars in here. So we'll have that. But yeah, you need that because, like I said, we don't have a lot of classic ones. We need also to talk about a modern Civil War too, because Alex Garland totally missed the mark with his Civil War movie. That just wasn't actually how a Civil War would happen. So I would make it how it would actually happen with the different political sides and all of that. And we would jump back and forth in time to show parallels between the classic one and then if a new one were to happen. So it would be kind of Nolan-esque with the time jumps in there to show the parallel sides of the story. So I think that'd be a really interesting movie. Like I said, it's going to be an epic. It's going to have to be like close to 3 hours to really tell all of this. You're going to have a lot of battle scenes in here. You might focus on a few characters, but yeah, it would be awesome. We got to have a movie like that.
That would be interesting.
I'm telling you, The Godfather Part 2 of Civil War movies. Let's go.
Nice. It makes me think of that Kevin Costner thing that's coming out. It would have to be 2-3 hour long movies that come out in theaters like 2 months apart.
Yeah, I didn't even think that. Do 2 movies, maybe like a couple months.
That's apart. What I thought you meant when you said do 2 different directors. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was gonna just splice it all together with one movie, but that might be better. Yeah, 2 hour movies. I don't know. Maybe that could work as well.
Double the ticket sales. Why not?
There you go.
Unless the first one bombs.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? This movie would do great.
Yeah.
You got Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. It's gonna sell.
But
yeah, I do always wish there were more older war movies like that. There's the only Civil War movies I could think of besides like Lincoln that I've seen, which is a good one that shows a little bit of that, is like Gods and Generals.
Yeah,
and,
they're
Gettysburg, right? Those are like the two that go together, and they're both like 4 hours long.
Yeah, there isn't a lot of them. And you know what? I would also try to make the movie rated PG-13 because there isn't a lot of PG-13 war movies out there. I mean, for obvious reasons, war is horrific, so most of them end up being rated R. But just so it could be a learning piece, maybe in schools as well, maybe, try to lean towards PG-13 a little bit more, cut away from some of the blood and stuff. I mean, it can still be very violent. A lot of PG-13 movies have a ton of violence and action in it. So Michael Bay can do it. He did Transformers. I mean, he can do it.
He made Pearl Harbor PG-13 somehow.
There you go. See, it can happen. Oh, we throw a romance in here as well. Ooh, a good little romance. Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
You have the descendants of the first part of movies falling in love from opposite sides from the second part.
Oh my gosh. That is a brilliant idea. Yes, let's do that. Let's
write it.
That sounds awesome. And then they're like opposite sides, like the side switch too.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And then you see, oh my gosh, this is a brilliant man.
I don't care that you're from the north.
This would, oh my gosh.
I love you. All right, I'm going to talk about Michael Bay and how he sucks now. I want a good Pearl Harbor movie that isn't a half of a love story for the first 90 minutes and actually shows how important that was and focus on the people involved who are real people and not made up characters with sprinkled real people in there, like Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character, for example, I believe was a real character or a real person. I would love to see a good, as it's happening, Pearl Harbor attack epic. I don't know why. Part of it's just because of my family history makes me interested in it. And it's obviously an important part of the war because it's the reason we got into the war in the first place. So if you wanted to have that be part of the film as well, it would be great. But that's really all I want to see is a really good, in-depth, based on true people, Pearl Harbor film without the Titanic romance thrown in to sell.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Pearl Harbor has glimpses of something I care about, but I'm like, this movie doesn't need the romance. I feel like the romance can be taken out and just put into another movie.
Yeah.
Like a Civil War movie of some sort.
My wife is actually against all that. She's like, stop shoehorning love stories into stories that don't need it. She's like,
war and love, it goes together.
She's like, I don't need that. Yeah. So, I mean, there are places for that, but yeah, Derek, like you're saying, let's just tell the story. It's like in the middle of 1917 if you suddenly like, oh, let's get a love story going. No, you can't shoehorn that in.
Yeah,
It
that's
worked
why
in
like movies
Titanic.
now they don't care as much about love stories, mandatory love stories as much. Not that
Yeah.
it's a bad thing. If it was real people, great, but yeah, don't make up characters to try to make it more, interesting to the 12-year-old girls who want to go see Ben Affleck in something. Obviously, this was 25 years ago. But yeah, that was the only thing I thought of that I think would be interesting, and that's why I thought of that before I watched Operation Petticoat, which I thought was cool that it was a post Pearl Harbor attack movie, which I thought was cool because it starts like days after the attack on Pearl Harbor. So that was interesting. All right, I'm gonna pop into these comments because there's a few dozen in here to read. Not gonna read all of them, don't worry. Van Gool, we have a World War II museum in our town. That's cool. Like a bunch of plans. What's your town? That doesn't give us a lot of stuff. I want to go to Hawaii just to see that Pearl Harbor Memorial. I saw a lot of like I saw the Vietnam Memorial, not just for that, but I would love to see that because my grandpa's brother's name is on it. So that's cool. But I've been to Washington and saw like the Vietnam Memorial and all that stuff with like
yeah.
grade.
Saw that too.
That's
Great.
That's great. I'd love to go back now, like because I would appreciate it so much more now than I would have as like a 12-year-old when I went with school and be like, yay, vacation, first time on a plane. That's all I care about. Favorite war movies ever. Yeah, Band of Brothers, so good. I love what I'm the weirdest person. I love watching Schindler's List. It's so good. That's the most depressing movie I could watch endless amounts of times because it's so perfectly made. And thank you, Johnny. Life is Beautiful is great as well.
It's so good.
Brought that up. Yeah.
When that movie ended, I had to take a moment. Like there was so much to absorb when it was over. It was intense.
Yeah. And it's weird because it's kind of a comedy because of what can I think of his name?
Roberto Benigni.
Benigni something.
Yeah.
Roberto Benigni. Yeah, and he directed it at least.
Yeah.
I don't know if he wrote it, but he directed it and
Started
won Best Actor for it. So good for him. But yeah, that's a sad one. It's a sad and funny movie. Yeah. See? Hey, what's up, Bill? Thanks for popping in here. Scrolling through here. Giselle Jones. That looks new. Dennis Quaid, Come to Paradise, about the Japanese camp in America. Hey, there you go.
So I looked it up, actually. I never saw that movie, so I'm definitely going to check that out. I would like, though, if they were going to make a new one, I would like the lead to be Asian descent and have it from like their perspective.
Within the camps, yeah.
But I'm definitely interested to see this. I never heard of it, actually.
Yeah. It's the problem we have with like older movies. I'm assuming that's from like the 80s or early 90s or something.
It said 1990.
Yeah. It's like movies like that, when they make them, they're like, oh, we better make the white savior in there because they got to have those white savior movies. Like even 12 Years a Slave has that, and that's not even that old.
Yeah.
So seeing it, the real version, like Tim was saying, would be substantially more interesting.
Yeah.
And it'd be an interesting mix of like foreign language and English movie as well. I think that would be kind of cool. Let's all write these movies. We'll start on the Civil War one first.
Yes.
Cold Mountain, someone brought up. Cold Mountain's a pretty decent Civil War movie. Have you seen Cold Mountain, Mike?
I have not. No,
That's 100% Civil War romance right there. And you got Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's the best part of the movie. He's only in like half an hour. Anybody but Michael Bay. Thank you.
Man.
Dill knows what's up. They like Cold Mountain. Cold Mountain's good. Yeah, that has Jude Law in it too. I think that's a movie he did after Enemy at the Gates. All righty then. Back at it. Wow, we're already here. Oh, that was better. That was good. I didn't think we'd go through that much. We're going to go to our recommendations for our next show, which is going to be on Michael's channel. We don't know when. We'll let you know. But it's going to be about animation. Not just Disney, but animation as a whole. So we're going to do our recommendations to each other to watch by next month's show. All animated pictures. So we'll start with you, Huck, yet again.
All right. So I don't have copies of all of these, but but Derek, I'm giving you The Bad Guys. The Bad Guys did quite well when it was in the theater. It's got, listen to this voice cast. You're going to love it. Sam Rockwell, Aquafina, Mark Maron. It's hilarious in this, by the way.
Mark Maron.
I mean, like, it's the animation style on it. The animation is hilarious, if that makes any sense. There's like this odd comedic energy to the animation that the animation is making me laugh. And that's why I wanted to give that to you. Plus, I think you said your son and wife went and saw it without you. So,
Yep.
you know,
and they liked it. So I'll probably like it. And I love Sam Rockwell.
So, yeah, maybe he'll watch that again with you. And Tim, we're going to give you Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Was it Mutant Mayhem? This was a fun, like, again, also extremely,
cool, yeah.
it feels a little bit like Into the Spider-Verse with that sort of really interesting comic book animation. Seth Rogen's behind it. He wrote it. Another like killer cast like Maya Rudolph, John Cena, Seth Rogen, of course, Jackie Chan, Ice Cube, as Superfly. Oh my God, Superfly is hilarious. So,
Superfly, yeah, he was good.
You kind of grew up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like that's going to be right in your wheelhouse. And Mike, I do have a copy of this because no, you're a Disney fan and you hadn't seen this. I think this was the last until recently. I think wasn't Wish traditionally hand drawn, but is Princess and the Frog. This movie escaped me. I think at the time all of the Toy Stories were out. Everything was like CGI now, and I just missed it. And then somehow, after having my daughter found it, says, I want to watch this movie. I'm like, all right, Princess and the Frog. And dude, it's in New Orleans. It's got jazz. It's got Cajun cooking. It's got beignets and great. The music is fun and the voice work is delightful. Oprah's in there as the girl's mom. So when it was over, it is now one of the most watched Disney movies I've ever seen. Mostly because of her, because you wanted to watch it over and over again. And thankfully, because it was so good, I never got bored watching this over and over. So because of that, I want to give that to you.
I'm excited. Yes.
I am too.
It's a good one. I saw that theaters. It's solid.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll start with Mike. You're getting more Disney. I'm going to give you the DuckTales had a movie back in somewhere in the early 90s. It was actually the very first movie put out to theaters done by the TV animation side of Disney. It's fun. I actually just rewatched it. So hopefully you enjoy that one. I mean, it's DuckTales.
I love DuckTales.
Derek, you are getting Scooby-Doo Zombie Island, one of the best Scooby-Doo straight-to-video type movies, which there is like 100 of them.
Yeah.
And they're all on Max except for that one.
Their own genre.
And then, Huck, I am going to give you Rover Dangerfield.
With Rodney.
Rodney Dangerfield
right.
as a dog. What's not to love?
I mean, I do love Rodney, so all right.
All right. So let's get to the recommendations here. First up for Tim, we're gonna have Belle. This is a anime title, and I wanted to get back to recommending Tim some good movies he will actually like. He suffered enough with Strays, so Belle, I think this is definitely one of the most Tim Talks Tears type of movie. Now, it is a little weird at the beginning. But you got to stick with it because by the end, it ties together and it's very, very sad. So, yes, got to go with Belle. All right. Next up for the more sophisticated palette for Derek. I know he likes his, our two filmmakers. You're going to have a Wes Anderson title with The Isle of Dogs. There we go. Yeah, stop motion animation. So, yeah, I think you'll like it. It's like dark comedy in there. So, yeah.
I like Fantastic Mr. Fox, so I'll probably like that one.
Yeah, that was good.
Yep. And then for Huck, we got Batman versus Two-Face right
there
here.
There we go.
It's going to be a blast from the past for you, Huck, I tell you. You got Adam West in here, Burt Ward. You have William Shatner as Two-Face.
Come on now.
Ask for? I mean, this is literally a callback to the 60s Adam West Batman show. So you'll at least feel the nostalgia feelings, even if you don't love it. So
I've always wanted to see it with Shatner and Adam West acting. Let's go.
I need to watch that too. I love the old Batman show. Alrighty. I'll start with Tim just because I don't have the copy of it, even though it's awkward. I was shocked to find out you hadn't seen the Disney animated Robin Hood movie, which is adorable and has great music. And it was one of the few Disney movies I grew up watching. One of the other ones is also a recommendation to someone else. I'll get to that. But I love the Robin Hood animated film. It is easily my favorite Robin Hood movie that I've ever seen and the one I've watched the most. So as long as you like classic Disney, I don't see how you will hate it. Basically. Huck, I'm going to give the motion capture animated Steven Spielberg, Peter Jackson baby, The Adventures of Tintin in 3D. You don't have to watch it in 3D, but it looks really good. This is one of those motion capture animated movies, but they actually did it well. It has the energy of like an Indiana Jones style adventure. You get Andy Serkis in it as, I think he's multiple characters. It's got a great cast. Daniel Craig is the one, I think, if I remember right. But I always really liked Tintin. I thought it was super fun. And it's like a comic strip nobody cares about anymore, at least people who are my age or younger. So the fact that they could take something I've never really heard of and make it a movie this fun, even though it didn't do very well in theaters and they stopped making them immediately after this one, I thought it was a fun time. And it was shamefully under appreciated. For Mike, I'll give you my all-time favorite direct-to-video / TV Disney animated picture. And that it's the only one I ever wanted to watch at my grandparents' house on VHS until my dog literally ate my VHS of it at my mom's house. And that is The Brave Little Toaster.
Oh, Lord.
If you like Toy Story, this is made by Joe Ranft, who is one of the co-writers of Toy Story. And this movie is essentially all the 3 Toy Stories, because there's only 3. The first 3 Toy Stories all rolled into one storyline, kind of meshed together, but with appliances instead of toys. And it has John Lovitz and Phil Hartman in it. So what's not to love? But yeah, I love Brave Little Toaster, and I guarantee you I'll be watching all 3 of these again myself before we do the next thing. So those are my 3.
Nice.
I'm excited for all of them, even if it's hard to find that Scooby-Doo movie. All right. And then oh yeah, that's right. Well, first I'll check the comments before we get into our fantastic game that no one knows what I'm talking about, but me and everyone's only I'm going to enjoy this. Well, other people might enjoy it too, but one person really is not going to. We got Vin here. I just wanted to pop into the comments really quick about your daughter watching Princess of the Frog all the time. It's a great movie. Yeah. I saw that in theaters when it came out, and it was a fantastic movie. And yes, it does have amazing
princess. And Tiana's great.
And there's 2, right? Scooby-Doo Zombie Island 1 and 2. They're on the same Blu-ray.
Yep.
Well, maybe I'll just splurge on that one then.
Watch them both.
Brave Little Toaster is a classic. Yes, it indeed it is. Adam West Batman movies are fun. I've seen one of them, but I haven't seen the Two-Face one. That's awesome. All right. Yeah, those are all good. Yeah. Let's see how this flies. Okay. I want you in the comments to play along just for fun, but I wanted it to be fast paced because I didn't want it to take too long, but we're only at an hour and a half, so we got some time. I have a multiple things. Photos of things. You'll see what they are. And it's a brand new game show that only one person is really going to not enjoy, and the rest of us are really going to enjoy just because it's going to piss them off so much. We're going to play a fun new game show called Better Than Dunkirk. I'm going to show you 20 things, and you're going to tell me whether or not they're better than Dunkirk. So I want Tim and Mike. A number I already know the answers. So you 3 play. And we're going to start off with some softballs here, and I just want your genuine opinion on these things, whether or not they're better than Dunkirk. So we're going to start off with 1917. What's your objective opinion? I know how could Mike like it. I know Tim, you prefer your Dunkirk. That's fine.
They're close. Yeah. Very close.
Yeah, they're both damn good. I love Dunkirk. That's why it's okay that I'm doing this, because I also like it. A bent steelbook. Oh, what's better? What would you rather do? Watch Dunkirk or get a bent steelbook in the mail? Mike, I need to know. I mean,
yeah, because the steelbook could be of a good movie, so yeah, at least get the movie watch out of it.
All right. Well, let's just say you're taking that J card off and you get a wicked paper cut. What would be worse, a paper cut or watching Dunkirk?
Oh gosh. Oh man.
Paper cut. Come on
Yep.
now.
Paper cut.
You'd rather have a paper cut than watch
Rather have
Dunkirk?
No, you said what's worse.
Oh, okay.
The paper cut's worse. Dunkirk's a great
Paper
watch.
cut.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I can do other stuff while I have the paper cut.
Young adult novels? Would you rather read young adult novels? I have to sit through Dunkirk, Mike. This really is a game where Mike can shake their head at.
Man.
Tim, this is
I'll go no. I mean, movies beat books, even though.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Big old spiders. Would you rather have to sit through Dunkirk or have a big old spider crawling on you?
Oh gosh. Is it gonna bite you, the spider, or is that a
Does it
possibility?
matter?
It does matter. If it's not gonna bite me, I'll chill with it and we'll watch another movie. But if it's gonna bite me, I can't stand spider bites.
How about it's venomous, but it might not bite you?
It might not.
It might not.
Oh,
It
man.
might kill you. It might not.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
There's a 50-50 chance he will be murdered.
Dunkirk
with the
won't kill me, but it'll make me not want to be there. Okay. Well, I guess we'll go Dunkirk's better than the spider.
Oh, okay. All right. How about stubbing your toe? I broke my toe on a briefcase
Oh my
last week.
god.
The toe's not too bad. It's
That
only
gets
one
smart.
toe. It's not the whole foot. I can still
Okay,
walk.
fair enough. Okay. Sitting through church, boring. Who'd rather do that than watch Dunkirk? And this church service lasts longer than Dunkirk. I'll have to throw
Well, it
that in.
depends, though. It
Caveat.
depends on the church, though, because some churches are really upbeat. Like some kind of feel like a concert where they got the music going, and So what kind is it? That's it's tough.
The
to
boring
decide.
kind. You see
The
the
boring
people
kind.
Boring
Okay.
kind.
who are out of their mind.
Oh, man, that's tough. And you
Tim
said
hates
the
it, but he's
church
still
would be longer than Dunkirk. Oh gosh. Fine. We'll give it to a Dunkirk on that
All right.
one.
How about public speaking? Not in a YouTube setting, but just like you got to talk in front of thousands of people.
I
Yeah, you're
speak
good
all
with
the
that
time.
because you're a
so I
teacher.
can
So.
speak, yeah.
Who likes to eat head cheese? Would you rather eat a whole loaf of head cheese?
What is that? I've never even heard of that.
It's ground up cow face and gelatin. That's what.
Oh
head
yeah,
cheese
I'll
is.
take that. Yeah, actually, I like cow like taco meat, like the cabeza, the face. So yeah, I'll eat that.
Oh
I
yeah.
can cook it, right? Season it. Yeah, I'll eat that.
Hope you're not allergic to bees because it's definitely not as good as watching Dunkirk if you are.
I got stung by a bee. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't comfortable, but I'll take the bee stung. I'll take the bee stung.
All right, we can all relate to this one. We got accidentally pooping your pants while digging through the Walmart $5 bin of Blu-rays
Jeez.
or watching Dunkirk.
Oh my gosh.
Accidentally?
You could find a good movie in there if that's a $5 steelbook bin. It might be worth it by then.
With shit in your pants, though?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Do I want to watch
Look at that
shit
guy.
or be in shit? That's the thing.
Yeah, why are we staring at this photo, Derek? Gross.
All right, and then to
All
top
right,
it
we'll
all
give it
off,
a no
we
on
got-
that one. I gotta be fair. So
Okay.
I guess I'll
Saving Private Ryan. What do you guys think?
yes.
Yeah. I'll watch it.
All right. So I was curious. I was to see if anyone in the comments. I had more of those, but I figured that was enough.
Yeah. We get it. I mean, where do you go after pooping your pants, honestly?
Yeah, that was my second to last one already. I just I'll skip these next few. All right. Hey, how's it going, Tony? Thanks
What's
for
up,
dropping in.
Tony?
I just want to see if anyone likes Dunkirk or prefers other things. Van Gula joined. I like Dunkirk. I'm not complaining about it. He likes 1917 better. Kent Pause is better. You got to say what is better then. I don't know. I can't read the comments and click the pictures at the same time.
Yeah.
Dell loves Dunkirk. He's on the Dunkirk train. Dunkirk's better. Ben Steelbook. So he's
Ben Steelbook. Wow.
Don't attack Tim's Dunkirk. Dunkirk is better than a Boo Boo. Is the Ben Steelbook Dunkirk? Oh, that's a good question. I didn't think of that. Johnny in here with the important question.
That's pretty funny.
Well, if it is, it kind of cancels itself out. Watching Dunkirk is worse than those things, according to Tony. Dunkirk is better than young adult novels, creepy crawlers. Dunkirk wins over the spider. I'm just curious what people are saying. Dunkirk is better than paper. Oh yeah, you like Dunkirk. Come on. Everyone, Holland just keeps saying protect the hive over and over again.
Probably because the bees
Dunkirk over
showed up.
bees.
Yeah.
Dale says Dunkirk is better than most recommended movies tonight. I agree. See, it's fine. It's okay if I do this. That's what I'm saying. If Mike was to do that game, it'd be offensive. But if I do
Kid Boss says, out of curiosity, how many bees?
it,
Oh my god.
the same amount that Tony Todd got stung with while he was filming Candyman,
Oh God.
which was I think well over 100.
Really?
Yeah. He had like a whole thing where he had to get paid an extra $1,000 for every bee sting he got. It was great.
Wow.
Need to give Dunkirk. Yeah, I like Dunkirk a lot. I watched it again when I got that 4K finally. Nick Cage prefers bees over Dunkirk.
No.
Even Nick Cage prefers bees over Dunkirk. Okay, that's brilliant, Johnny. I love you. All right. That's what I had. I thought that'd be a dumb little way to close out the show. And dumb it was. Am I
Agreed.
right?
You nailed it. That's what you were going for.
Perfect.
I feel like I was the only one playing.
Mike
Though.
laugh, and Huck was just like, "What the hell's going on?" That's the exact
Oh.
response I wanted. So, win
I'm
for
like,
me.
I'm the only one playing on this game. Like, I feel like Huck just
You
bowed
were.
out of it real quickly.
You were the only one.
Tim likes Dunkirk over
Like,
most
well,
things.
this was
You
a
hate
game
Florida
for me.
Wilson. And Huck's like, I like it. He's like me. I'm like, what are you talking about? All right.
And
So
the only two I
yeah,
responded to is when you had 1917 and Saving Private
the
Ryan.
real
Rest
things.
were all Mike.
Can't believe you don't like paper cuts. All right. So let's go around. Was it any of you have anything coming up anytime soon, Huck?
Just join me Tuesday morning for the morning mug. I always like to just sit and chat, and if anybody's got time, come on by. It's a good time. I watched If today, and I will have a quick out of the theater reaction of If. So be on the lookout. Hopefully, I'll get that up either tonight or early tomorrow.
I saw that too. It was cute. Timothy, you love promoting things.
I mean, what do I got to promote? The channel is still mothballed at the moment.
Fair enough.
I'll
When's that best of 70s countdown coming?
when I get back.
Oh, fair enough. Good answer. So if you could tell anyone out there to watch one movie, what would it be?
Dunkirk.
There it is. All right, Mike,
boy. Stick to it.
what do you got going on, Mike?
All
Everything.
right, yes. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Split the Room, and this one is going to be Superhero Movie Edition. So is this a true superhero movie or not? We got an amazing panel here. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see where this one goes, actually. It's kind of a fun, different little topic for Split the Room. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be wild. Tune in for that, though.
Nice. See, I was just say yes, they're all superhero movies, so it's probably a good thing I'm not on there. I'm an easy sell. Yeah, I don't have anything specific coming up. I did a couple videos earlier this week. The Bad Movie Bible's finally back. I watched Mortal Kombat Annihilation with the kid, and I was like, I gotta make a video about it. And now I just want to keep doing those. So you'll probably see more of those through the summer, I'll say, because I'll be working slightly less and hopefully making more videos than I have been the last month. And then I did a little unboxing / show off of all my Killer Clowns crap, spelled with a K, as I say in the video. So if you haven't seen the Killer Clown Steelbook that literally everyone else has already, come watch that, and then you'll see the other stuff I have in my collection. So that is all I have coming up. But thanks for coming, Collectors Club. Next month is animation. We'll let you all know the dates when we know them, which will probably happen pretty soon. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.